The next thing we want to look at is the administration functionality within Cherwell. Any admin functionality, whether it be customizing the self-service portal, customizing forms for incidents or requests, or automation, does not require any coding. We don't need HTML, we don't need .NET or Java, Wizard. It's all drag and drop type of functionality. So we'll take a look at automation processes. So automation processes are what drive business processes on the back end of Cherwell. One of the big uses for automation processes would be email notifications. So for example, notifying a customer that their ticket has been created or notifying a technician that they've been assigned. That kind of process would be driven via automation. We have 3 different automation processes available. We can do a simple action or event. So if a field contains specific information, then do this action. We can do threshold based. So if we get 10 tickets in an hour that's categorized as email, we can then do specific action against that. The last one would be the visual workflow process. This is a very cool, very powerful functionality within Cherwell. We'll take a look at one of the SLA driven processes. And what we see is this visual workflow designer. We can see the flow of this process, what happens. The start event is the incident's changed and the status is changed from pending. So once that happens in this ticket, it then goes to await and then does other things based off that. Now these are easy to update. It's as simple as coming over here on the left hand side, finding what we want to do. So let's say we want to send an email. We can click that, drag it over, and we're now sending an email in this process. The email can be configured with specific information. So if we look at the email, we can configure it by simply right-clicking and either choosing information from the ticket. So we look at incident field. We can add in the description from our ticket. It's very easy, very simple. We can also manually type information. We have that ability as well. One other powerful feature within Cherwell are one-steps. So if we drag over a one-step, we can come in here and look at one of them, and we'll look at the new employee tasks. One-steps allow us to run multiple actions within the system. So looking at this example, this one specifically creates tasks based on the new employee form. So looking here, we create a new employee task, create a D account task, create keycard task. All these are driven off of an approval on the form we looked at in the self-service portal. If we edit it, we can see that the fields within the task, so the description field is being automatically set with new employee, and then we're pulling out the full name from the specifics form. So whatever they type in the full name will now be populated here. So just like we did in the email with right click, it's the same functionality. We can set the owner, so who owns this task, who's responsible, as well as the title. One-steps are not just limited to tasks. We have the ability to do a lot of different functionality. We can print, we can run a program, we can create business objects. So a business object, for example, would be an incident. We can create a new ticket. And we can also call other one-steps. So one-steps, again, are very powerful in Cherwell. Coming out of here and going into email and event monitoring. So Cherwell has the ability to monitor a mailbox. Any mail that is sent to that mailbox, it will be processed by Cherwell, and then we can do actions based on that email. So if we look at the monitor, we see we have these different rules set up. These rules do run in order, so it runs top down. The first one we have is skip items. So we have the ability to skip emails. For example, maybe it says out of office in the subject. If that's the case, then we just completely ignore that email and do nothing to it. So no tickets are created. We have update existing incidents. So looking at this one, looking more specifically at the ID, Cherwell utilizes a conversation ID and emails that are sent from the system. So if an email is sent and is related to an incident, say, for example, being notified that a ticket has been created. That email will have a conversation ID in it. If the user or technician replies to that email and the system processes that email, it'll look for the conversation ID and then know that that email is associated with the specific incident, and then updates that incident with the information from that email. Conditions allow us to further define rules, so we can look in the subject and say the subject contains the word approved. If that's the case, then we can do specific actions based on that. We can do subject, we can do look in the body for specific context. We can look at the date and time when it was received. Maybe if a ticket is received after 9 p.m. and before 6 a.m., we can notify somebody that's on call or notify a supervisor. If it's from somebody, we can do that. And so if it's from a VP or a manager or a supervisor, we can then do specific actions off of that. Once we have the condition set, we can go to actions. And from here, we can update. So this one is updating the comments field. We can create a new ticket. We can update an incident, which is what the update comments field is doing. Or we can run a one-step. So even though these are limited here, we can pull a one-step, but then opens up more functionality to us. So the email monitoring of Cherwell is very powerful. We can also monitor multiple mailboxes. We're not limited to just one mailbox. So we can monitor multiple mailboxes and have multiple rule sets, and then have a rule set based on that mailbox only. So again, very powerful, no coding needed to set this functionality up. Last thing I'd like to touch on are the mergeable applications or maps within Cherwell. The Cherwell community has the ability to export functionality from their system and upload it to the Map Exchange. The Map Exchange is like an application store, for example, like iTunes or Google Play Store. Cherwell users have the ability to come in, browse the Map Exchange, and download functionality. One example of this would be on-call functionality. So if we launch the Map Exchange, we can search, and we then bring back on-call. We can download this map, apply it to our system, and we then implemented an on-call system in our environment. So it's very powerful and allows the software to be dynamically updated in a matter of minutes. That will conclude our demo. Thank you for watching.